And we are back.
We're back, bumble bitches.
So today is a new day. We're actually trying something new, and only 7 people currently there, but we are live on Facebook today for the first time ever.
How exciting.
Yep. Curious to see how this pans out. This might be a good way for us to get people to jump over to YouTube from Facebook, get some extra views and whatnot. So we are, first of all, I keep seeing the Happy Father's Day. Everyone, thank you for that. I don't want to address that anymore because otherwise I'll continue to interrupt the chat because I feel obligated to say thank you or to say it back.
So just all encompassing.
Preemptively saying thank you
guys.
And you two guys, for all you men out there. We have a lot. I feel like a normal human being for the first time since we left Vegas, other than the constant smell of bleach.
Yeah.
So like I don't feel run down. I'm still a little mucusy, but that's life. But I've got all kinds of cool shit that I want to fucking get into, like because we haven't recorded in 2 weeks, other than that little 45-minute live stream we did Wednesday. So I've got tons of notes and like highlighted chapters and books, and like I'm ready to fucking work. Like put me in, coach. I'm ready to do the thing.
I'm glad you're feeling better.
Me too, because that shit sucked.
Yeah.
Okay, we got a chat from Facebook that said, first time joining y'all, seen a lot of videos and love the content. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Lori Adams, I have a question. So we will be answering questions more on YouTube. So for all of those of you who are on Twitch and on Facebook, guaranteed to get your shit seen is on YouTube through Super Chats. However, we do randomly read the chat. We are live on multiple platforms right now, so trying to keep up with all 3 at once is a lot. Highly recommend that you guys go to YouTube, subscribe, and get into the chat there. We're going to start this with a little bit of conversation, a little bit of book reading, emails, love stories, Q&A.
I think before we do that, we should announce the new platforms that we're on. So we are
You should absolutely do that.
We are active on X now, guys.
Yes.
So To Be Better Podcast and Peach DeVille.
Yep.
And we are also now on Threads. To Be Better Podcast, Peaches DeVille.
Yep. Doing the thing on the social medias.
We are.
I'm actually enjoying Threads more than Twitter.
Yeah. I'm getting more interaction on Threads.
Same.
And I'm also on Goodreads. If you guys are interested in that, Peach DeVille on that as well.
Yeah. Lorna said, I like Threads. We like that you like Threads because your shit popped up last night and I saw the To Be Better in the description of your profile.
Yeah.
What?
That was crazy.
I was like, babe, look at this. Look it.
Yeah. I was shocked because I searched to be Better to try and find the account. I didn't know that it hadn't processed yet for you.
Yeah.
And I was getting threads of people quoting us.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy shit, babe, we're here and we're not even here. Like,
yeah, it's wild. So yeah, we are on other platforms now. We are working into other things. Aren't you going to be doing something with voice.com or voice something?
Yes, that's on my to-do list of things to get done. I'm going to start doing the voice acting or
Paid
loaning my
reads.
voice for commercials or short book reads, whatever.
Yeah. Custom messages.
Yeah. I was also thinking about doing cameos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that Life of Baker, is that her name on TikTok? Kayla?
Yeah.
She's the Homestead wife. I'm almost positive she does the voice thing.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the ads that I see on there is her voice.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's
So
dope.
yeah, I know a couple of big creators are starting to do the voiceover thing. So
I'm also thinking about reaching out to Audible. I almost said audiobook. I'm thinking about reaching out to Audible and seeing if they want to pay me.
yeah, that would be cool. It'd be very time consuming.
It would be very time consuming, especially with me having to reread and going back and starting over and mixing my R's with my W's. It'll be a lot.
All right. So I'm seeing 2 chats pop up, names pop up. Dogie Venom and Dr. Harlan Quinzel. They both are very active on our Twitter feed.
Yes, I've seen that.
She made a video yesterday talking about passive income that sparked an entire fucking thought process for me. And there will be a video coming that's going to be a standalone episode that we are going to be doing based off of that inspired conversation. What'd you do?
The lid wasn't on my soda good enough, so I went to go take a drink and it spilled all over my pants, and now my pants are wet, and I'm trying not to have a fucking meltdown.
I mean, you could roll out of the way and just take your pants off and roll back over. Nobody would ever know, other than the fact that I was like, you could do that. She has wet clothes-tism. That's funny. Passive income in a relationship or as individuals? Passive income, period. Yeah. See? It worked.
I feel like I'm cheating on a professional meeting.
Yeah, nobody knows. How will they know? That's funny. All right. Do you want to do the conversations first, or do you want to jump into the book thing?
What conversations?
I want to talk about the TikTok I made this morning.
Okay.
So the question is, what do you think your parents could have done differently to make you a better adult now? And I don't mean in terms of raising you. I mean in terms of like communication or teaching you something that you feel like your parents really fucking dropped the ball on.
How to set boundaries.
Can you elaborate on that?
Oh man, there's so many branches. I'm just gonna like ring them off as I think of them. Upholding the boundaries. Not feeling guilty about having boundaries. Not feeling guilty about upholding the boundaries that I've set. That it's okay to say no.
Okay, hang on before you move any past that, because you just laid out a bunch and my pen and shit's not ready. I'm not ready to write things down. I wasn't expecting you to just fucking start firing like that, because normally you take a minute to process the thoughts. You were just ready to go.
Okay.
So either I'm still sick and the brain's not there yet, or you were just that fucking Johnny on the spot today and I'm playing catch up now.
Oh, well, I'm also not baked.
So, you said that you think that the holding, I don't remember how you worded it. Basically, being able to hold your boundaries and not let people walk on you and all of that.
Like setting the boundaries or upholding the boundaries?
Both. So as a parent, though, in order for them to teach you that, they have to respect your boundaries as a child.
Correct.
How hard do you think that would be for most parents? Because most parents have the I'm the adult, I say so, you do mentality.
I think that's hard for a lot of adults. A lot of us, in general, just feel powerless because there's always something else going on in life that's out of our control. And the one thing that we can guarantee control is our children. Because we're bigger, we're stronger, we're louder.
Why do you think that most adults feel like they lack control?
Why do I feel like most adults lack control?
Yep. I'm fucking prepared now.
The only answer I can think of that will make sense is the amount of data that we've received from thousands of people.
I need a bigger elaboration.
Every email we receive, that there's a theme of, I can't control this. I can't control them. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm not in control of myself. I'm not in control of my past. I can't control my traumas. I can't control my rage when I get triggered. All of these other things. There are multiple variables that could be the out of control sensation. Rent's too high right now. I'm out of control of that. Can't afford my groceries. I'm out of control of that. In the mindset that they have.
Okay, I'm glad that you clarified that, because that is absolutely
right. The mindset.
False, right?
Yeah.
That's gonna be part of that whole episode I have.
Okay.
So ironically enough, speaking that money aspect is kind of gonna segue into mine. I'm pretty fucking good with money.
Yes.
Right. So, and I know how to make it. I know how to save it. I know how to spend it. I know how to fucking invest it. Like I'm for somebody who's not educated. I'm pretty fucking good with my money. Our money, the money, the money. How about that? But as a young man, I remember being forced to work before I ran away from home. And the expectation is that I was going to work and hand my paycheck over to my mother. That's not going to help. That would have never helped me understand money,
right?
Because I'm just giving it away. And I remember the first time I got an actual paycheck that was not under the table work that took taxes and had to learn that fucking lesson. I had no idea anything about that, right? And then I think about like, I wanted to do, I remember this is a very specific thing. So it's going to sound specific because it is. I got my paycheck and I wanted to contribute to the house, right? 13 years old, 14 years old. I wanted to contribute. So I went to Walmart and bought shit that was fucking stupid to buy because I'm very, very young.
Right.
And I'm trying to help. So like I bought a garbage can. Fuck am I buying a garbage can for? We already have a garbage can at the house. But I just wanted to feel like I was contributing. We're buffering a lot on YouTube. So guys, I'm going to end the stream for Facebook because that could be part of our problem. So join us on YouTube. That should help.
You think the system would be able to handle that?
It's saying that our stream status is poor. Are we still running on Twitch okay, or is it just YouTube? This sucks.
This does suck.
It looks like it's both. All right, it looks like it's running again.
Okay.
I don't see buffering happening. Is everything working now? I just ended the Facebook stream because that could have been part of it. Let me know what's going on, guys. We'll have to cut all of this. It looks like it's working. I thought it was my lagging. That makes no sense because our internet here is really fucking good. I wonder if there's a way that I can give it priority.
Oh, maybe.
To YouTube, like so that it, because I know that when we logged into, we tried to stream to TikTok, YouTube sucked all the bandwidth and fucked everything else up. I do know that if we use Restream.io and go to Restream instead of doing it the way that we're doing it, it will go directly to their website and then out to everything else.
Okay.
But I think that'll flag us for unoriginal content.
Oh, that would suck.
Okay. All right. So it's just not on. It's just not. We ended the Facebook thing. So hopefully people will join us from Facebook. Anyways, so I went out and I bought a garbage can. Like 13, 14, what the fuck do I need to buy a garbage can for? But like, I also didn't understand that I want to say minimum wage at that point was like $3.40 or something stupid. I worked part-time because I was still a minor and all of that money didn't have to go to anything. I didn't have to buy my own food. I wasn't buying, paying rent or a pager bill or anything like that. I wasn't buying my own video games. My parents should have made me understand that money by going, okay, you guys want McDonald's tonight. That McDonald's is going to cost you $6. That's 2 hours of your work time from your check before taxes. After taxes, it could be 3. And they could have explained the financial aspect things differently so that when I became an adult, I understood how to manage my money differently. And I would have viewed the way that I sold my time versus the cost of the products I'm trying to purchase. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because instead of looking at it as a dollar amount, oh, that's $10, I would look at it as that's 3.5 hours of my work schedule in order to buy that $10 item. I don't need to buy that $10 item. That would have also transitioned into understanding allowance. Because if they were like, okay, so it's going to cost you $13 a day to eat, you made $200, you can go ahead and take $13 for the next 7 days to cover your cost of food and then cover your pager bill or whatever. And then if you want to buy a video game and like start subtracting that from my paycheck to show me exactly where that money's going, how much I need to save and what my allowance of spending income is, so that when I started having to pay for my own apartment or pay for my cell phone and pay my car insurance, I actually got a suspended license at one point because I thought I only needed insurance to get the car registered. I had no idea that I had to keep the shit or that there was a law there because I'd been doing everything on my own.
Right.
So they fucking suspended my driver's license. I had moved, never got any kind of new information because I also didn't know that I had to get my fucking driver's license updated because I didn't have any guidance. I was fucking winging life.
Right.
But had I had all of that information, it would have viewed things differently and I would have learned how to budget and I wouldn't have been living paycheck to paycheck, truly living paycheck to paycheck, because I would have an understanding of the way that my time is being sold. And I think that that would have set me up for success a whole lot further because even though I was poor for a while, there was a time of abundance in my childhood where my mom was running businesses and doing shit that was making her a lot of fucking money. And I didn't have an understanding of how much further ahead she was at that point because of her business than most people.
Right.
So there's just a whole lot that goes into that. So in that aspect, I think that that's definitely something that would have benefited me as a young man. Mm-hmm. And I asked it.
Sound like our son over there.
I can't fucking believe I just said that. I asked TikTok the same question.
Yeah.
And can I read some of those real quick?
I don't know why you're asking.
Do we have the time?
I don't see why not. What time are we going live on Patreon?
5:00. It would help if I was on the right account.
That would do it.
The shadow ban is real, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Someone wrote, how to love myself first and then love those around me, which I think could really be elaborated on, but is a really good point. Somebody else said, my parents just expected us to do better than them, all while showing the opposite. I hope that makes sense. How do you expect your kids to do better than you if you can't teach them how to do better than you?
Yeah.
So that already speaks to your parents failing you. But it also speaks on their willingness to go above and beyond to make sure that you are okay. Like at that point, they just don't give a shit. How can you expect your children to do more than you did if you don't ever explain to them why it's important or how, or start taking the steps to understand things to be able to pass that information along, right? So that was a big fucking thing for me.
Okay.
How to save money. They taught me how to make it, but not how to keep it. So that would have been me had I not left home as early as I did.
Yeah.
Because I would have been making the money and just giving my check away. I would have been a dependent my entire life, working just to give my money away.
Yeah. Something that I heard a lot growing up was when I started working was give me your paycheck because I know you're going to spend it.
Right. What would they have done with it?
Right. And that was like, I never did. Like I never handed it over. That was a big conversation of contention.
Right.
Maybe.
Well, because you're working for it. You want to keep it.
Right. Like I was also like, how do I know you're not going to spend it? I don't trust you.
Right. Well, that says a whole fucking lot too. And I felt the same way.
Yeah.
And I know what would have happened with my checks. This will be the last one I read and we'll move on. This one says, what a good man is. All my mom did was tell me how my dad didn't do anything, and my dad didn't show me or tell me what I should be looking for. They just kind of let me wing it with no advice.
Yes.
What are you doing?
Put my pants back on.
Okay. They dry now?
Yes. My butt's so big, I had to make sure I kind of like pushed it off the screen before the rest of my body.
That's
I don't
funny.
know how big that lens is.
When you originally sat down, I could see a little bit of skin on your hip.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the bodysuit covers everything.
Yeah.
It's just
Oh, I know.
thin.
I told you earlier I was jealous. I've never been so jealous of a piece of fabric. All right.
We're back.
So that for the bigger conversation of the standalone video that I want to do soon.
What the fuck?
We're hardwired, so that shouldn't be a thing. It's back up now, though. I think we actually just lost internet, guys. So I think that's what that was.
There's a lot of storms going on in our area.
Yeah, it really is. So, but we're hardwired, so it's not a Wi-Fi thing. It's Comcast. It'd be like that. So, okay.
All right.
Did you guys hear her story, or does she need to repeat it?
I don't remember what I said.
You were talking about the Louis store for your birthday.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, we're getting to that time. It's gonna start raining here soon.
Okay, they're asking you to repeat yours because they didn't hear it.
So it wasn't on my birthday, but while we were there, my husband looked at me and he said, "This is your birthday present." It was the first time that he took me to a Louis store. Because it was the same day, too. I woke up that morning at like 7 a.m. and I was looking at purses at Target. And I went up to my husband and I was like, "Hey, can I have like $60 to get this purse?" And he was like, "Where are you getting the purse from?" I was like, "Target." And he was like, "We're not doing that." And you pulled up the mall, kind of in our area.
It's just like 2 hours.
Yeah. And yeah, that whole experience was wild. And I dressed up for it because I've never been in a super fancy place like that before.
I have the photos still.
Yeah.
You drinking your little champagne.
A little champagne.
Yeah.
I would do it up going in there that next time. I'm more willing to take up space now. I'll lay across that damn counter. Let's go.
Yeah. Feeling like you own the place.
I feel like Shelly would help me get up there too, just because how much she loves our energy.
Yeah.
And then yeah, that was it. Next question.
Okay.
What's something that comes easily to you?
Loving you.
That was exactly what came to my mind. Loving my man. Taking care of my man. That and being goofy.
That is the most effortless thing I have in my life.
Yeah.
When you really think about where our life is and the amount of work that we have to put into literally every facet of our existence, loving you is the most effortless thing that I have in my life. I don't have to work or think.
Not a fight.
Right. It's just there. It's natural.
I'm honestly honored that you think about me. So
yeah.
I love that was the same thought for
Yeah.
both of us. All right. So this one is the going deeper. And then after that, it's activities. And we already did one of the activities. We'll tell you guys about it. Oh, what do your friends think of me?
I mean, I only have like 3 friends and
Yeah.
they all like you.
Okay.
If they didn't, I wouldn't be friends with them anymore.
Yeah.
It's kind of a package deal.
Right. Yeah, my friends, they love you.
Do they?
Yeah. Every once in a while, I'll get a random message from one of my 4 friends, and Jackie specifically, and she'll say, you know, I've known you for so long and seeing you be happy with your husband. I love that you have him in your life.
Get a lot of that.
Yeah.
I get a lot of that. The amount of people who are like, smile, it looks good on you.
Yeah.
You know, like the smile looks good on you. Happiness suits you
Yeah.
is wild. Yeah.
Never heard that shit before.
Me
Never
either.
heard it before.
Me either.
Just like when I was 340 pounds, I didn't get compliments. And I've lost the weight. Now I get it all the time. It's crazy to experience something after you haven't received it.
Yeah. We should talk about the weight and not right now, but
Okay.
I'd make a note.
And then the activity that we did was
Can you hold
linking.
the box up again?
What's that?
Hold the box up again.
It's called Let's Get Deep.
It
Questions.
was buffering pretty hard earlier, so
And for the activity, we did one before we went live. It was linking our arms and standing up off the ground. And we actually did it.
sitting back to back
Yeah.
on the ground with our arms linked.
Yeah.
And standing up without using our hands.
Yeah.
I almost didn't think it was going to happen.
I had faith in us.
Because you're in an odd position.
Right.
You're Forrest and Bubba. You have to lean against each other to not eat shit.
Yeah.
And if you push too hard,
I'm going to go over.
right. So like there is a communication necessary for that to work.
Yeah.
We did it on the first try.
We did.
But I know my leg strength and your leg strength is not the same. And had I just tried to jump right up, I'd have just toppled right over on you. Probably would have got hurt.
You hit me with keep pushing, and I'm like, I am. I don't have any more.
It did not feel like it.
Oh my gosh. Crazy to think that there was a time when I could lift 500 pounds with my legs.
Yeah, for reps. Yep.
I miss the leg machines.
We can sell the gym equipment and start going to the gym again. Turn it into our fucking game room.
Oh God, I love the idea.
Is there any more on that one? Because there was some of
Nope,
those
that was
activities
it.
were really fucking dumb. Okay.
Yeah, some of them were really dumb, like thumb wrestling.
You said when you were 340 pounds, you never got compliments, and now you get it all the time.
Correct.
During the men's call today, somebody asked about streaming and becoming a streamer. And one of the conversations that we had was about your physical appearance. Because people who are physically fit do better in almost every facet of sales or marketing than people who are not.
Right.
And that comes down to an attraction to some degree, whether it's a dude looking at another dude who's jacked and feeling like, damn, I wish I could look like that, or look at the discipline this motherfucker has, or whatever the case may be. There is a level of respect and admiration there. And I think that people who do that, who physically have that appearance or look better, are going to do better online or in marketing or in sales. So for you to say that while that conversation is still prevalent, because I'm still replaying conversations that I had 3 hours ago during our round table discussion, I could see that.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because people who are overweight that don't take care of themselves will never truly be known by society, because society will not give them the chance based off of their sloppiness.
Yeah.
And
I was that sloppy, overweight person.
so was I.
My hair was greasy. I had no skincare routine. My body was oily. I was not good about hygiene. So there were times I definitely smelled like BO.
You and I have had this discussion a lot. The first thing to go when my mental health goes is my hygiene. Every fucking time. So it's a lot to process when you think about that. All right, let's move on, because
Okay.
I don't want to kill too much time. I do want to read this, and some of this is a lot. This book is called Not Just Friends. This book is super big with infidelity, and there's a lot of things that this is my second time through this book in terms of audiobooks, but I have a single chapter. I think it's like 3 pages. It's 8 questions that I want to get through. You mind if I do all that, or you want me to just pick one? Because I think there's 11 questions that need to be.
You can go through all of it.
All right. So this is questions to be asked from partners who have created infidelity, right? And it says, what did you say to yourself that gave you permission to get involved? So from somebody who is overcoming infidelity, they've decided to try to make it work and make their marriage work or relationship work after someone's cheated. These are some of the questions that should be asked.
Yeah.
And it says there are all kinds of reasons for not stepping over the line that would normally stop you from entering forbidden territory. Vulnerabilities and values will be revealed by the thoughts and actions that come up as you crossed thresholds into the extramarital relationship. Most likely, discussing these questions will uncover the magnetism of the relationship, the sense of curiosity, or the belief that nothing bad would come of it. One of the most revealing thoughts is whether the unfaithful partner considered the consequences of getting involved, or only if getting caught. For example, how did Ralph decide to go ahead with a secret lunch date that he had with Laura? What was he anticipating? It's important to understand that how a platonic friendship can shift into an affair. When people confide in opposite sex friends about problems in their marriage, they are revealing a weak spot and signaling their availability at the same time. Although women share deep feelings with lots of people, particularly other women, men are usually most comfortable sharing their feelings in a love relationship. As a result, when a relationship becomes emotionally and intimate, men tend to sexualize it. Good there?
Makes
Okay.
sense.
Through the discussions with his wife, Les figured out how he let himself be drawn into an affair with Fiona, a new colleague at work. He recognized that it started off with his compassion for Fiona's situation. He was moved by her tale of a distressed marriage, a disabled child, and terminally ill father who lived with her. Les admitted that he was flattered by Fiona's idolizing him when she compared him to her insensitive husband. He pictured himself as her protector and rescuing her from the troubled life. This is the whole fucking slaying the dragon shit. One freezing Sunday, when he got a call from Fiona asking him to drive over and give her dead battery a charge, he did share it with Lisa. Later, he and Lisa agreed that when he stopped talking about Fiona at home and started keeping his weekend phone calls a secret, The friendship had shifted into an emotional affair. Sexual intimacy developed as Les became convinced that he was in love with Fiona and began to detach emotionally and sexually from the marriage. Hearing these breakdowns, I would imagine had to have taken a whole lot of time to really get to that level, because that's not surface level acknowledgement.
I don't think it takes that much time.
No, why not?
No. If two people are miserable, someone's been starving for 6 months and they have food in front of them the first time, they're going to gorge themselves. And I think if two people are miserable in a relationship and hey, I'm going to give you some attention. Oh shit, that feels good. I'm going to give you some attention back. And now 3 months into it, they're in love.
I think we're having two different conversations.
Okay.
I everything that you just said, I agree with. Like, I can see how that becomes a thing. But what I'm asking is, like, to have these conversations and to be as detailed as this, where Les can say, I realized I was falling for her because I got to feel like the hero. Like, that's not a surface level conversation. Like, there's a lot of probing questions and a whole lot of hurt that has to get past in order for somebody to be honest with their person, to really be forthcoming and self-aware of why things escalated from just us being friends to now there's an intimacy or a sexual desire or whatever. That's where I was going with that, because I think of the emails that we get and the lack of forthcoming information that's had, or when people go, I don't know why I did it, I just did. You fucking...
No, you know why.
To an extent you do, but until you really sit down and process the step-by-step and the feel-good of it, you don't really know. Like, you just know you felt good, right? So, okay. Moving on to the next one. There's a whole paragraph here, but I'm moving on to the next question. After the first time you had sex, did you feel guilty? Is the second question that should be asked during the healing process. Asking about guilt reveals the internalized values of the unfaithful partner. Some people never feel any guilt about getting involved. People anticipate guilty feelings before they act, are more inclined to avoid dangerous crossings. Others feel guilty after they act, although guilt after the transgression doesn't necessarily keep them from repeating the sin. Some people feel so disgusted with themselves after their first extramarital sex that they get together again with the affair partner as soon as possible. Another dose of aphrodisiac offers a temporary escape from their self-loathing. Some people get rid of their guilt and continue the affair by rationalizing that nobody is getting hurt because they are not taking anything away from their spouse or family. Others transform guilty feelings by taking responsibility and terminating the extramarital behaviors long before they are discovered. That was all for that one. That was a short one. But
okay.
Do you have anything on that?
That rationalizing of I'm not taking anything away from my partner by having an extramarital affair is disgusting to me.
Because of the understanding we have.
Okay. I guess. Even if I didn't have the understanding I have, and the understanding that I have is when you enter into a union, a marriage with somebody, and you agree to be monogamous, that is the only source of sexual intimacy you're going to receive for the rest of your life. So by having that with somebody else with an affair, you're taking the only thing they can get from you away.
Right.
And that's the understanding that I have.
That's the understanding, right? So without that understanding, though, and the true, like, it's my job to provide that. And if you take the ability for me to provide that, you are doing that's the understanding.
Right.
So as soon as you said that, I was like, because I get it. But that understanding wasn't always there.
Right. So without that understanding, and I hear, well, I'm not taking anything away from my marriage. The non-understanding version of me, bitch, you are. Like, what do you mean you're not? Putting your dick in somebody else, you're taking the dick away. That's...
Yeah. But so this falls into what the eyes don't see, the heart doesn't feel.
Yeah.
Right? So that...
Oh, damn, if I never see the dick, I can't miss it.
I feel they need to stand up and, like, shimmy or something. Okay. Good on that one?
No, I'm having a whole moment right now. I feel like a Shakespearean play right now, like to dick or not to dick.
That's funny. So question 3 is, how could it go on so long if you knew it was wrong?
Okay. Selfishness.
Affairs are both messy and glamorous. The forbidden, unstable nature of secret affairs keeps passion flowing years beyond what is common in a stable relationship. Unfaithful spouses often appear to be addicted to their lovers. They fail in their efforts to end the affair time and time again, pulled back by a magnetic force that they can't seem to resist. Only with great determination are they able to break the spell. Comprehending what started the affair is different from comprehending what kept it going. Right? Okay.
Okay.
It may have...
Hang on. Before you keep going, that was there is a reason it started.
And there's a reason it continued.
And I bet it's feelings.
Okay.
Okay.
It may have started out of a shared interest or sexual attraction, but are continued because of a deepening emotional attachment. Or it may have started as an emotional affair and continued because the sex was great. Or it may have started because marriage was in a slump, but continued because it assumed a life of its own long after the marriage improved.
Yeah.
It is important to understand how the affair ended as it is to understand what sustained it. The ramifications of an affair that was ended by an unfaithful spouse before disclosure are very different from an affair that was ended either by the affair partner or the ultimatum of the betrayed partner. If the affair ended abruptly, the attachment will be harder to break than if the affair died a natural death. It's easier to put a relationship behind you if you are the one who made the decision to leave.
That makes sense.
That last line is heavy.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I mean, yeah, that the natural death versus the abrupt ending makes sense. Because if somebody in their 30s passes away in a car accident, that's devastating. But if 98-year-old Bertrude has been in hospice for the last 6 months, it's still devastating, but it's expected.
Right. This next one is something we talk about on the podcast a lot. I'm probably going to stop at question number 8 because number 8 is the one that I want to get to. We're on 4. Did you think about me at all? This is the how could they do this to me mindset.
Right.
When in reality, they weren't fucking thinking about you.
Yeah, I would rather hear no versus yes, I thought about you and chose to do it anyway.
Right. Right.
Tell me that you were selfish and this wasn't to spite me.
Right. If the unfaithful partner had been thinking about the betrayed partner, he or she wouldn't have gotten so involved in the first place. The act of infidelity is not about the person who was betrayed. It is about the person who did the betraying. Betrayed spouses often see themselves as a central character in a spouse's affair and believe that every step was taken with them in mind. How could they do this to me?
Right.
We've been saying this for a year. And now it's even in fucking parentheses in this book. They ask, then it goes on. The reality is that the involved spouse probably didn't consider his or her partner much at all. Simply put, unfaithful partners seldomly anticipate the tragic consequences or the pain they inflict. It will probably be hurtful for betrayed partners to learn that although unfaithful spouses have difficulty suppressing thoughts of their lovers at home, they are unlikely to think about their spouses while they are in love in their love nests. Intrusive thoughts of lovers flow from necessity of maintaining secrets, but it takes little energy to suppress thoughts of socially sanctioned marriages. Right? Because you got to put an effort into fucking being secretive and like it's something you have to constantly think about not fucking up. Debbie Layton Thole found that 87% of involved partners think of their lover while with their spouse, but only 47% ever think of their spouse while with their lover.
Right. Priority shifted.
Yeah. Yep. This next one is what did they share? What did you share about us? I'm going to skip that. I really wanted to get to the one, and this is taking longer than I thought it was. The next question was, did you talk about love or future together? Number 7 is, what did you see in the affair partner? I'm actually going to read 7 and 8.
Okay.
The betrayed partner will have a portrait of the affair partner, but it is almost never the whole picture. Betrayed spouses are prone to place all of the blame on the affair partner, preferring to believe that their gullible spouse was manipulated and seduced. They may not be willing to accept that the person to whom they are married to took an active role and therefore displace a lot of the anger and rage onto the affair partner. Involved partners must recount the ways they encouraged the love affair and invested energy to keep it going. It is less likely that the infidelity will happen again when the involved partner owns up to having been a full participant. Al and Amber quarreled about their divergent perceptions of his affair partner, Zelda, who worked for him. Amber regarded Zelda as a bitch and a manipulative slut who was out to get Al's money. In reaction, Al glorified Zelda's competence and loyalty, but the more Al talked about Zelda, the more he realized that he could never fully have maintained a long-term relationship with her because of her mood swings. Amber, on the other hand, grew to understand that Zelda's constant praise and high energy appealed to Al. Finally, they arrived at a combined picture of Zelda as a hardworking woman with a changed personality, charged personality who used flattery to get what she wanted. When you really see the situation for what it is and remove the negative bias and the hurt, you can fix your marriage at that point.
Yeah.
Because in that statement, when you realize what it was that she was giving Al to make Al want to cheat, that's already lacking in the marriage. If Al was able to understand that in the beginning, he could have had a conversation with his wife and corrected the problem before he needed to get that outside validation or superhero complex or whatever. Betrayed partners facilitate between glorifying the lover the lover as an incomparable. It's broken up and it's very hard to read when they break words into two like that. Rival and discouraging him or her as a despicable human being. Questions about your physical appearance, personality, and intellect are attempts to see whether they measure up to the rival in sex appeal or achievement.
Can you start that over, please?
Betrayed partners facilitate between glorifying the lover as an incomparable rival and disparaging him or her as a despicable human being. I'm going to pause there. Every time they hyphenate a word and go to the next line, I struggle.
Hate it. I fucking hate it.
Just fucking leave the gap.
Right.
Okay. Fuck these people. Questions about physical appearance, personality, and intellect are attempts to see whether they measure up to their rival in sex appeal and achievement. These questions aren't helpful as they seldom reveal the lure of the affair partner. In fact, many betrayed partners are astounded to see affair partners look rather ordinary. The appeal of the affair is frequently in the positive mirroring or the sounding board it provides rather than the lover's charisma.
Yeah, we hear across all platforms, he cheated on me with her. That's such a downgrade.
All the time.
It's not about appearance. It's about the way they made me feel.
Right. What does that say about ego?
Right.
For us to everybody is insecure.
Right.
We are all insecure to some degree. And for us to look at another person and be like, well, I'm better than they are.
Right.
How could they do that to me? Falls into the previous question of how could they do that to me? But also, you're now comfortable enough in your skin to put yourself above somebody else because you're hurt.
Right.
Well, your external pretty is not hiding your internal ugly. And her internal pretty is magnified because she's mediocre.
Right.
Right? Like,
yeah. Me healed now. If one of my friends came to me and said, oh my God, Josh cheated on me. Like, oh, I'm so sorry. And then they pull up the chick and just start shitting on her appearance. I can't believe he cheated. I'm a 10 and she's a 2. I can see why he cheated on you.
Yeah, I'm ruining
That's my
lives.
response.
Yeah.
Like, fucking makes sense.
Yep. This is the last one. Okay. And then we can do an email.
Well, I have something I want to talk about before we do that.
Okay. You mean after this? Mm-hmm. Okay. What did you like about yourself in the affair and how were you different? Is the question.
Okay.
Instead of focusing on what the affair partner was like, it is more productive to focus on what the unfaithful partner was like in the extramarital relationship. New relationships allow people to be different. More assertive, more frivolous, or more giving. A strong attraction of affairs is the opportunity to try on new roles. The insensitive, detached husband becomes an energized becomes energized by his own empathy and devotion. The sexually uninterested wife is exhilarated by newfound passion and erotic fantasies. In long-term relationships, the potential to develop different personas is constricted by familiarity. For example, a man who is a powerful CEO in a large corporation is regarded and teased by his family of origin as the baby. I'm not going to read the rest of it because that it's not relevant. That whole thing comes down to growth, right? And if you always do what you've always done, you always get what you've always got. If you have been with somebody for 10 years and over the last 10 years you have wanted to step out of your comfort zone and try new things and grow and evolve as a person, and the people that are there are not supporting you and lifting you up, you will never step out of that comfort zone because the people who are there don't support you in doing it. So that new relationship allows you to shed that dead skin. You're no longer between a rock and a hard place. You have a clean slate to be the person that you believe you can be.
Right.
And if you have not made the changes over the last 5, 10, or 20 years to become that person, man or woman, that clean slate allows you to fall into what you believe you can be.
Right.
What does that say about your inability to pay attention to your partner's needs and actually help them grow and stand by them? We hear people say all the time that we should be the backbone of our relationship. They're my rock. They're my pillar. I want to be their crutch. We are going to carry this weight together. And how many are failing to actually do that by not supporting their person when they're trying to grow and evolve and do those things?
Right.
I literally read all of that just for that one paragraph. Because there's so many people who get into relationships and just become stagnant.
Right.
They don't grow, they don't evolve. And then you have the opposite end of the spectrum where you get a man and woman who are supportive of each other and babe, I have a really crazy idea. Oh yeah, I love crazy ideas. Run that shit. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out to be a fart joke.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. We're invested in whatever the fuck this is right now because crazy ideas.
Yeah.
I'm gonna support it. Pull my finger. Ha, gotcha. You know what I mean? Like, but having that, you said before we sat down, you said to me from that card verbatim, what would you do tomorrow if you could start a business? And you looked at me and said, it wouldn't fucking matter because we would just do it.
Yeah.
That's the support system. If I'm like, babe, I think, let's go.
Run it.
We can do this shit. Mm-hmm. That's a whole lot different than, why are you dressed like that?
Right.
Why are you wearing a button-down shirt? You look stupid. What are you going to a job interview?
Yeah. You think you have the energy for that?
Right. Right. You can't wear Hugo Boss button-downs. You got tattoos on your face. You look dumb as fuck. Go put a t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that shit matters. Okay. What was your thing? Because I will do this all day.
I wanted to add on to the examples that were given that an emasculated man wants to feel like a protector.
Absolutely.
And that could also be a reason for someone to cheat.
Do you want to elaborate on that? Or would you like me to elaborate on that?
I wasn't planning on elaborating.
My brain's
on that.
running.
Okay, you do it, babe.
If you have a woman who is constantly nagging to her man, making demands, making him feel like he is there only to serve, that's only one function of what it is to be a husband.
Right.
When you remove all of those other options and our job is to simply bring money into the home and do whatever the fuck we're told, and we don't get to enjoy our lives and we don't get to fill the request because love makes requests, not demands. If you're like, babe, I would really like it if we did this thing. And then 3 weeks later, I'm like, hey, babe, we should do this thing. And you're like, fuck yeah, let's do that thing. I get to be the hero.
Right.
I'm meeting the request that you made. I'm doing it on my timeline because money may not be there or work may not allow it or kids may not allow it. But I'm not telling you no. I'm still getting to be that knight in shining armor. I'm rescuing you from your mundane life to go take pictures at the garden because that's what's going to make you excited, right? Like we get to adventure together. But it makes me feel like I'm winning. And when that stops, and this book talks about a woman who didn't have finances being very excited to be able to actually go and order off of a menu with her affair lover or whatever because he's got money. It's very exciting for her, but for him, that's just normal life because it's not an adventure. That's just how he lives.
Right.
So he gets to be that role by proxy just by doing nothing because for her, that's not how she gets to live her existence because of the way her marriage is. Mm-hmm. So in that aspect, it does make somebody feel like a whole lot more than they are by doing a whole lot of nothing. And that's important to recognize. If I didn't get to feel like the superhero with you and you know, take a bath in Vegas and you'd be like, I fucking love our life and like, thank you for everything. And you just took all of that for granted, I wouldn't want to do it anymore. The luster of it would be gone. The shininess would be gone. The I did it would no longer be there. Like it wouldn't feel as good. Dave Chappelle said that men would live in a cardboard box if we thought we could fuck women in a cardboard box. That men buy nice cars and nice houses because women like nice cars and nice houses. We do that shit for you guys.
Yeah.
And if we're in a marriage and it's not being reciprocated in terms of the gratitude,
what's the point of
what's the fucking
killing
point?
ourselves for it?
Right. Yep.
And then also in that book, you read something about the scorned partner will blame the mistress,
Yes.
male or female. I came across a TikTok today. Have you heard of this Lindsay Burkowski chick? Apparently all the rednecks are losing their minds over her. And she uses like some type of metal grinder. It's a disc. And she's like carving her name into tailgates on trucks. Yeah. Men are asking her to do it. And she can. And I don't know what the big hoopla is about her, but...
Okay, I think I need more context. This is not like a vindictive, you know, just going and destroying people's property.
No, like she does, I think she does metal work.
Okay, so she's probably metal
Or something.
fabric. Okay.
Like she's skilled with it. You
Okay.
can tell by her signature on these tailgates. Like she's not
That changes my...
just vandalizing things.
Right.
And a dude made a TikTok about, I'm glad to say that she's not my type because all of you guys are ruining your relationships, drooling over a woman who doesn't even know you exist or something like that.
That's a fucking fair statement.
Right.
That's how I feel about every man who's chasing thirst traps.
Right.
Okay?
And in the comments, a woman said, I personally know 4 relationships that she's ruined. And I responded with, she didn't ruin anything. These are the men who are in a relationship fawning after another woman, destroying their own relationships. She did absolutely nothing wrong besides exist. Now, if she's going out of her way and she's sliding into DMs and she knows these people are in relationships, then she has some contributing factor to that.
Right.
She doesn't even know these men exist behind a screen. Sit there and blame a woman for a relationship ending. Blow my mind.
It's insane when you think
It's
about it.
absolutely delusional.
Yeah. People, it's way easier to be the victim.
It is.
And that's a societal, like, go-to now.
And it's also, so she's very much like that 2023 TikTok attractive influencer look. Like she does the lip liner and the lashes and her hair's blown out. She's blonde and conventionally attractive. And I think when women will place more blame on the woman than their man, there's an envy in that. Maybe you think that she's more attractive than you, or there's a jealousy of, I want to look that way. So you're more willing to hate her than you are the person you supposedly love. And I say that with my full chest.
That's a lot. That's a fucking lot to think about. Mm-hmm. There's definitely an envy and a resentment based off of envy. Yeah, absolutely. Holy shit. There's a lot to that when you really think about it. And I'm willing to bet on a subsurface level, that's the case. Mm-hmm. You get so many people who are, I wish I could look like that, but aren't willing to do the work to look like that.
Right.
Right? Not willing to learn how to do makeup, not willing to go on a diet or go to the gym or stop fucking eating ho-hos.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Go on a 30-minute walk.
Right. You don't want it. You just don't like that she has it kind of thing. Because if you
Right.
really wanted it, you would make it work somehow.
Right.
It's a lot. I remember when Aquaman came out and Jason Momoa lost all his weight and got super shredded for that role, the
Yeah.
first one. And the amount of men who were like, I don't understand why my fucking wife likes that shit. She says she likes dad bods, blah, 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 blah. because when you look at somebody who's physically fit, you see the work that goes into it. We
Right.
all know how hard it is to diet and be
discipline.
muscular, right?
Yeah.
And there's a discipline in that you're obviously lacking in your marriage that your wife is seeing in another man, and you are seeing it in another man, and you're getting salty about it. I also saw that there was an article posted that said that every woman who is, like, not every woman, but the way that it was worded, basically, this is a paraphrasing.
Paraphrase.
Every woman who has stated that they love a man who has a dad bod, they mean their man who has a dad bod, not every man that has a dad bod.
Right.
And when they are asked, is it just your husband that you feel that way about? They say yes, because they love their man the way he is. And it doesn't matter if he's got a 6-pack abs or not. But when they're looking at other men, they're not looking at men with dad bods.
Right.
They're looking at men for a plethora of other reasons. And if they can match all the boxes evenly across the board, and the only difference is the body shape, they're going to take the more muscular man. Because at a biological level, more
Primal.
muscular means that we're more capable. So it's fucking crazy when you think about it. Yep.
Yeah. Excuse me.
I didn't know that woman existed.
Neither did I until this morning. And I saw all of these women hating on her, and I was like, I don't understand. And I went down this little rabbit hole.
Yeah.
I'm not well versed in any of that shit, so.
When I was tattooing, I had a female client who was a welder, and though she's a blue collar worker, she was very feminine. You would have no idea she was a blue collar girl until she started telling you what she did for a living.
Yeah.
And she created a TikTok, and she had to end up she had a pretty successful TikTok, and then she went completely private with it because of the amount of people who found out she was a welder that wanted to fucking berate her and talk shit to her because she was in a man's trade. And like the feminists went after her too. Like,
course
why are
they
you doing
did.
that job? And
Isn't
that's
this
a
what we
man's
fucking
job.
fought for?
Yeah. Yeah. It was
Wasn't that the
bad.
whole point of feminism, for us to be able to do everything a man can do, but now that I'm doing it, you want to shit on me for it?
Yep.
Oh my God.
Yep. Instead of supporting her,
God.
making her fucking money, doing what she's happy doing, because she's a fabricator. It's not like she's just, rolling dimes. She's actually she builds shit.
Right. I can't stand going into the wild. Like, the more and more that I go into the wild, the less and less I want to do it.
I get that. I totally fucking get that. We're an hour in. Would you like to jump into an email?
Yeah, I have one pulled up.
Okay.
And this one says, there is a question here, I promise.
Okay.
This is a Patreon email. Hello, To Be Better Co. I use the podcast name and salutation because I never know if it's appropriate to address someone by their name if I don't know them personally. And I also struggle with, should I put the man's name first or the woman's, when truthfully I'm speaking to both of you.
Okay, so let's answer that first.
Man's name goes first.
Right. And the other part of that question is, if you are uncomfortable with that, you give them Mr. and Mrs. Burkett. If you were talking to us, that's how you would address us.
Yeah.
Dear Mr. and Mrs. Burkett. That's the polite way to do it if you don't know us. However, you do have a parasocial relationship with To Be Better because we introduce ourselves as Chris and Peaches. Therefore, we are by proxy giving all of you the permission to call us Chris and Peaches.
Yeah. All right.
Learning shit. Real quick before you do that. You guys like my shirt?
Very Texas Chainsaw of you.
I like your face. We finally got our
Affiliate code.
affiliate shit with
Relentless.
Defender set up.
Relentless.
So for those of you who have been asking where I buy like my defund politicians t-shirts and Noah was a conspiracy theorist shirt and I like your face. These shirts that I buy from Relentless Defender, we have a code To Be Better from them. So if you use that on checkout, it'll save you some money. I just have to plug that real quick. Also, now would be a great time to also plug Matrix Hormones.
Yes.
Just pay some bills, I guess, real quick. If you guys are looking to get your blood work done, check out Matrix Hormones. Go to their website, matrixhormones.com. Click on the new patient form, fill it out, drop down menu, say that To Be Better sent you. It'll save you $200 on your initial consultation with them. And if there's something wrong with your body, they can give you a tune-up.
People mechanics.
Bzz, bzz.
I hate that sound.
Yeah?
Oh God, yeah, that's like some like Outlast shit. So many dicks in that game.
I actually just uninstalled that from my game,
Really?
my system. Yeah, we haven't played it, and I needed space.
We've been playing a lot of Call of Duty.
I know. Phasmophobia. I think I deleted that one. I deleted some of my games, but I
Okay.
also installed new games on our computers.
Okay.
So I also uninstalled It Takes Two since we beat it.
Yeah.
But there's a new one on our games now. So we have another 2-player game that's,
Problem solving.
yeah.
I like that you're excited about that.
It's fun for us.
Well, I like that you want a game with me.
I want to do everything with you.
That feels good. I want to do everything with you too.
Sometimes I want to grab you and shake you and be like, bitch, don't you understand? You're my best friend and I fucking love you. Like, stop it.
That's how I feel.
Just fucking squish your cheeks.
Yeah,
What's
like a
wrong with
little.
you? Yes.
I'd have to take my glasses off for that though, because my cheeks really
Of
get
course
up there.
I do. You ever see people be like, oh my God, it's so fucking cute. I just want to squish it to death.
Yeah.
That love aggression.
Yeah. Oh my God, you have love aggression towards me? That makes me feel really, really good. That makes me feel good. Did you know elephants view us the same way we view puppies?
They just want to squish us.
Yeah, and we look cute to them. Yeah. You can tell that they're higher intelligence beings than us. Because we look at puppies and go, oh my God, you're so cute. You don't ears.
Do it to elephants. Like if I could put a
Right.
280-pound baby elephant in my lap, I'm gonna.
The ultimate weighted blanket.
I would do that.
Squish me.
Yep. Okay, sorry, back to the thing.
Oh, while I'm thinking about it, before we get back into the thing, I'm starting to pick out things for my garden that I want to do outside.
Cool.
So can I start sending stuff to you, or do you want me to do all that on my own?
I think you should make a list
Okay.
and give me a price,
Okay.
and then I can facilitate that.
Word.
Somebody asked what the other co-op game is. I don't
Don't know.
fucking know.
No clue.
We Were Always Here. Maybe?
I thought that sounds right.
It sounds right to me too, but it's probably not. I'm going to go with that.
Okay.
That final answer. Okay.
Okay, back into the email. I first came across you guys on my FYP on TikTok about 6 months ago. I believe it was a video clip of Peaches and her exact words were, "It puts me on cloud 9 if you refer to me as anything to you." That's how I said that.
Yep.
I believe it was a podcast about someone taking offense on Peaches' behalf of you saying you're a woman. I had 2 immediate thoughts when I came across that video. First thought was, damn, if I had her, I would say that too, because obviously Peaches is a beautiful woman. My second thought was, has blank ever said that about me? I redacted my husband's name. I very quickly fell down the rabbit hole of watching and rewatching and triple watching y'all's videos. I have done this for months, and I have studied what you have all said. I have written out pages and pages of notes. And recently, probably within the last 3 to 4 weeks, I have been binge listening to your podcast, taking more notes, followed you on Patreon and TikTok, and subscribed to YouTube. I am basically immersed myself in your world online.
Okay, so welcome to the To Be Better tribe, first and foremost.
Yes.
Thank you for all of the continued support.
It is dope.
Can we just for a minute pause and think about how insane it is that people take notes based on our conversations?
Blows my mind. Because I'm taking notes while listening to Jordan B. Peterson.
Right. Trying to think of the way to word this, not sound stupid or weird. You and I have had a whole lot of conversations about how all of this is just common knowledge. Even Zach and Jenny have been like, you guys are going to have to repeat yourselves a lot because not everyone goes back and listens. And we've had the same conversation so many times that we have intentionally stepped away from having those conversations to continue to give fresh content.
To not be redundant.
Right. That kind of shit is so second nature for us in terms of this is just the way we talk and who we are and what we know. And we have the data to back it up based off of our emails and like the what we're doing. Every single time somebody's like, I'm taking notes and pages and pages and pages of notes, it humbles the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
Like it truly does. Like it makes me stop and really think about like how far we've come and like where we're at and what we're providing and what we're doing. Like it's humbling.
I mean, when you think about it, we have men's and women's groups now.
I know.
And I'm going to be honest, I was really nervous about being active in that group and providing the quality that the women were searching for.
Do you feel like you are?
I yes, kind of. I mean, I'm more on the, like, I'm not shitting on myself anymore. I have more hope in it. A lot of the women have come forward and said that they are really enjoying what's going on, and they're definitely getting new thought processes and new ideas from the conversations that are being had, which is dope.
Yeah. I struggled with that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Our round table discussion today went on for 2 hours.
I love that.
And I called you immediately afterwards, so you know this already. But like I felt accomplished today. Like we got a lot fucking done today. And every time somebody levels in any way, shape, or form, loses 10 pounds, gets a raise, starts a business, like
your
feel
wins
like
are my
I'm
wins,
winning.
bro. Like,
yeah,
let's go.
Let's celebrate that shit.
Oh, Jesus.
Yep. Yep. It's a lot to think about.
Yeah. I'm also viewing every woman in that private women's chat as my friends.
I get that.
Like, I'm investing so much of my time into you guys.
Yep.
So
Invested is a good way to word that.
yeah, I'm starting to take shit personal from someone did this to me. They did what to us today?
Yep. I get that.
Yeah. Back into the email.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've heard good feedback about the women's group. Oh, that's dope. Thank you for saying that, Zach. All right, back into the email. I was still angry about a lot of what you said, though. I was stuck in this mentality that why can't I have that? I was so stuck in everything that I didn't have that you both do. I was so stuck in everything that I don't have that you both do. Okay, so envy in what we have.
Right. Comparison. Okay. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I'm glad you did that because I was like, I need you to read that again.
I was like, this is not computing, short circuiting. Number 5 is alive. Fuck. I learned about myself in so many ways that I am the problem in my marriage. Talk about a rude awakening.
I have to look at something real quick.
Okay, do you want me to pause?
No, you can keep reading, but I'm going to be rude because my boots and my hat were just delivered.
Really?
And I want to make sure that they were not left on the they left on the porch.
Oh,
that was it.
thank goodness.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'd had to leave.
I was about to say, yeah, like
$700. I had to leave.
right.
Okay.
Also the heat.
Yeah.
The sun
in the
beating
rain.
on them. Yeah.
Right. They're on the porch though. We're good.
Okay, good. Okay. My husband and I have been married for 15 years. He was my first boyfriend, and I grew up being a part of him. I grew up being a part of him and I. I grew up being a part of him and I.
They grew up a couple.
Okay. My husband and I have been married for 15 years. He was my first boyfriend. How old are you guys? That was not included. Okay. What I wanted and needed 15 years ago is not the same as what I want and need now. And I don't know how to ask for what I need and tell him what I want.
Okay, this falls into exactly what we were just talking about from that book.
Okay, I need you to elaborate because we talked on a lot.
That last paragraph.
Okay, the last point.
About growth.
Yeah.
And about how if you don't fucking grow together, you will grow apart. Like this is exactly how infidelity starts. All it takes is that one person to recognize that you can be more than you can be the person you believe you are, and to give you that little bit of hope, and an intimate bond will develop. Once that happens, everything's off the table at that point. That line gets moved further and further away of what is and what is not acceptable.
Right.
This is a big deal.
It is. I just had a flash. It's off topic of the email, but on topic to what we were talking about like 20 minutes ago. Your cute aggression towards me. When you told me this morning that I had like a little snore, or whatever it was, and you're like, it was so cute, that just made me feel really good. Because you don't say things are cute.
Yeah, well, that's because normally when people snore, it sounds like a chainsaw.
Yeah.
Mine especially sounds like two bears fighting and a lumberjack doing something in the background.
In the distance.
Yeah, but you were like... And I looked over, I was holding your foot, and I looked over, and I was like, did you just fucking snore? And you didn't answer me, and I was like, oh, she's out. And you didn't do it again. And I was like, well, that was fucking interesting and cute.
Yeah. That made me feel good. That was super cute to hear. That was just totally random that the cute aggression made me think of. So back into this. The reason I am writing to you is because I want to thank you for your content. You have given me pause to reevaluate my take on life. I am a talker. That's how I figure things out, and my husband is not. Anytime I try to have a meaningful conversation with him, it either turns into an argument or we both talk in circles, repeating the same thing over and over.
So you're not communicating.
Okay, so she said meaningful conversations, not arguments. Oh, it either turns into an argument or we both talk in circles, repeating the same thing over and over. So it's one of those two options for meaningful conversations. When I think of you and I having meaningful conversations, I'm thinking about expanding businesses. I'm thinking about future plans, our retirement, what we're going to do when the kids grow up. Date night. Like, there's a plethora of meaningful conversations. So if every time you're trying to have a meaningful conversation, whether it be about retirement or the children or vacation, and it ends one of two ways, there's a more deep-seated issue than just not being able to talk.
What do you think is happening right here? Because I already have a conclusion in my brain of what's happening.
With what's going on right now?
Yep.
Okay, I need you to just say what you have to say because...
Dave Chappelle said, I'm going to go back to Dave Chappelle a lot. That Killing Him Softly is one of the most iconic comedy things ever.
Love that stand-up.
And comedy is funny because there's truth behind it.
Right.
He said, every time my wife says, Dave, we need to talk, I go, fuck! Because I know that we got to talk about something that I got to do. Yep. Right? So if we're having meaningful conversations and the meaningful conversations are always turning into me feeling like I'm defending myself, it's because I'm feeling like I have to change or you're attacking me and we're not actually having a conversation. I'm going into this conversation or this discussion with a preloaded expectation of what's about to happen.
A preloaded defense.
We are not having communication. Mm-hmm. You're probably talking at me or making demands, not requests. There's a whole lot of things that could be going in that direction, but I'm feeling like there's unresolved things and they're not communicating things in a way that the other person is able to just go, okay, you're right. I could see how you feel that way.
Right.
Because it's a whole lot easier to validate somebody's emotion and understand where they're coming from if you're just having a conversation about how they feel about things.
Right.
Versus what you did to make them feel that way.
Yeah.
Right?
I had a conversation with someone the other day. There was a disagreement about whether or not something was disrespectful in the relationship. And the person said, well, they're just not seeing that it was disrespectful. They're not agreeing that it was disrespectful.
Okay.
And I was like, well, they don't have to.
Right.
They don't have to agree that it's disrespectful. The problem arises when the perspective or the experience is downplayed due to the feelings the other person has. Right? So we can disagree on something being disrespectful, but if we come to common ground on it and there's resolution, it doesn't matter if we agreed or not. The problem's solved.
That's happened with us.
Yeah.
Can I take it a step further then real quick? Because in that situation, I don't remember. I honestly, I know that it's happened because I remember specifically saying to you, I don't agree, but I see that it bothers you, so I'm not going to do that anymore.
Right.
So whatever it was, I made the mental note not to do it, and I obviously haven't done it since, but I remember that conversation. We don't have to agree on the semantics of things. What I need to understand is that it made you feel a certain way.
Right.
And if I want to have a happy household and to make sure that you're being watered and fulfilled, regardless of whether or not I agree that you shouldn't feel that way, you fucking do feel that way. I need to be aware of that and not do that shit again. This is simple fucking things. This is not an attack. This wasn't like, hey, fuck you for doing that. It was, this happened the other day. I've been thinking about it since. It's making me feel like blah, blah, blah. Do you understand? I'm like, not really. I understand that you feel that way. I don't see it the way you do. But now that I know that that's a problem for you, I'm gonna fucking make a mental note. I'm not doing that shit no more. Right? So like, that is communicating. That is understanding that you and I have different perspectives, different cognitive biases, different negativity biases. different wants and needs, different emotional standards. In order for us to have a functional relationship, we are going to be catering to each other's bullshit from time to time.
Yeah.
If I don't like something, regardless of you liking it or agreeing to it, if it bothers me, you have made it a point to be like, I'm not gonna fucking do that because it bothers him. Why the fuck wouldn't I do that for you?
Right.
There's concessions being made. Okay. Life examples.
I can tell you're still pondering.
I feel good today.
I'm glad.
When you were operating at 25% capacity for almost a week and you get to 80 to 90%, boy, you feel great.
Yeah.
But my brain is functioning. So all the things that I haven't got anything done for my critical tasks since we've got home. I don't think I've gotten anything done.
Yeah.
Other than recording episode 8 of Voice of the Broken. I did do that while I felt like shit. But now I'm overthinking everything and I'm ripping apart thought processes and things like that. So me staring off into space was still running that train of thought down and realizing that we've had to do a lot of healing to get to that point, to understand that it's not an attack.
Yeah. It took a lot of healing in me not to sit there and argue with you about how it was disrespectful.
Yeah.
Old me would have drawn that shit on for days.
But what would that have done? How would that have served us?
It's the insecurity in me.
Do you think that matters?
The insecurity in me?
The need to make me understand why you view it as disrespectful.
It does matter.
Okay. Then why didn't we argue it further? Because
I don't believe there is a point for understanding in that. Like we had another conversation about my depression and you just can't wrap your hand around how I handle it.
right.
And that's one of those things where I can sit here and continue saying this 100 different ways and continue to spiral deeper into my own mental illnesses, or I can just accept that my husband doesn't understand it and we can keep communicating the best that we can.
Right.
So the reason we didn't continue talking about it is because I am no longer that insecure person. I don't need you to fully understand what I'm going through. The fact that you're willing to take the time to try to understand is what matters to me.
Okay. The reason I asked that is because the changed action still happened,
Right.
which is the result of what the conversation needed.
Right. And that was the end goal. Old me would not have been satisfied with that because you didn't agree with me. I would need that validation that you also view it as disrespectful. Because if you don't agree with me, then there is a possibility in my mentally ill mind that because you view it as okay, you're going to do it behind my back. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. See, that opens a whole nother fucking can of worms of discussion.
It's a lack of trust.
Right.
It's a lot.
But again, that speaks on the healing aspect of all of this. Like, we don't have to have an argument.
Right.
We don't have to agree. What the resolution is that A happened, B was the solution, C is the answer. And if I can get to C, whether I agree with A or B or not, the resolution is still C. So if I can agree that I understand that affects you, and because I love you, I don't want to do that to you, I don't have to agree with it.
Right.
But that falls into exactly what you said with what the email. I mean, that I literally just revert. We were full circle. We just went all the way around and got right back to where we were in the email. Go team.
All right, continuing on. Oh, man. To piggyback off of that a little bit before I continue reading. For me to go from my end goal being that you agree with me and I'm right, it boiled down to I needed to be right.
Okay.
So there was a right and a wrong. And I need you to concede to me being right, that my way of thinking is the right way of thinking.
Okay. Do you think that you would have got... Okay, never mind. That was a stupid question. I'm not even going to ask that out loud. That was fucking dumb.
Okay. And now, so that was my end goal then. I have to be right and you have to agree with me, and then our relationship will be stable. Not the solutions being had where you're not going to do it anymore, right? That didn't matter. I needed to know that you agreed with me and that I was right. Because in my insecurity mind, that meant that you saw the light and there's no possibility of it happening nefariously behind closed doors because you agree with me. It's a very flawed way of thinking. It is. My perspective changed to where the solution is the end goal. It doesn't matter if you agree with me, like I said, because I have the self-confidence within myself to go, if my man cheated on me, he would know what he's losing, right? Or there would be changes in the relationship. Like something would happen. I know my worth now, I guess. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Well, that situation with us was not about cheating.
No, it
all.
wasn't.
And I know
that was just
for
an
a fact,
example.
But,
that was an example.
so in your flawed pre-self, your previous life, if you got to they agree and I'm right, and the behavior still happened, how would that come to resolution? Because you would still argue.
Yeah, we would still argue.
It wouldn't solve anything. Like at that point, you're arguing to just simply be right instead of.
Well, no, then the argument would become, you told me you agreed with me, so why are you still doing this behavior?
Yeah.
And then we would then argue about that because the solution
Doesn't matter.
wasn't had in the first argument. It was about me being right and winning it.
So a lot of ego and a lot of what about me and all of this.
I was a very narcissistic person.
I think everybody is everybody is to a degree,
Right.
and I believe that. But I by nature get defensive. Yes. I've had to defend myself my entire fucking life against everything. So I am naturally ready for a fight.
Yeah.
And that could be a verbal altercation or a physical one, right? Like, so I'm not saying it's always physical. Like, it's not what I mean by that. But there's been a whole lot of, wait a minute, in a conversation where we've started talking and you can immediately tell that I'm starting to posture for a blow up, and then there's not a blow up. And for me to be in that position, like I'm now with my back against the wall, ready to swing for the fences, and you're just wanting to have a conversation about, don't just be aware that it made me feel this way. Like, that's not something I got to change. That's just a mental note that like I need to make. Mm-hmm. That's a very different conversation than us having to have an argument where I need to defend my actions.
Right.
That could be something as simple as like, look, I was pretty mad at or upset. I'm not mad or upset anymore. I've worked through it. And because I've worked through it, I need you to understand that this happened. This is how I felt. And I just want you to be aware of it so that we can try to avoid that in the future. That okay is a whole lot different than you made me feel like.
Right.
But that's taken a lot of work on my end as well, because not everything needs a response. Sometimes simply saying, okay, I get it, is enough. Mm-hmm. Anyways, I'm now going to Howard Hughes this in my brain until we move on and just continue repeating myself. So
I'm going to continue reading. I don't know how to communicate. I'm going to back up a little bit. I am a talker. That's how I figure things out. My husband is not. Anytime I try to have a meaningful conversation with him, it either turns into an argument or we both talk in circles repeating the same thing over and over.
Oh man, we really fucking side railed, huh?
Yeah. But it was good conversation. I feel like that was all productive. I don't know how to communicate with my husband, and anytime I ask him for directions on how to communicate with him, for example, should I use different words? Should I dial back my professional speech patterns? I fall into those when I am nervous or when I don't want to get emotional. I'm going to bust out that per my last email speech if it's going to keep me from cussing at my husband.
I would be so offended if you talk to me like that.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
Well, not per my last email, but I mean, I do that.
You don't do it to me.
I do.
You don't ever talk to me in a professional manner like we're not married. Not once have you ever done that to me.
But I do in my mind.
Okay, well,
like
you don't articulate it that way to me.
Okay.
I would that type of disassociation and making me, that removes your title as my wife.
Yeah.
To talk to me like that. And that might be a personal thing to me because of my need to not feel like people are talking down to me.
Right.
And like the educated aspect of things might be a personal thing for me, but I would not do well if you did that to me.
Yeah.
I love that you're able to fuck back and rephrase your wording. That's gangster.
I mean, it's hard.
Sometimes it really fucking is.
Yeah. There are definitely times where I just knee-jerk reacts and just shut the fuck up and let me think, but we don't say that.
Right.
So
I need a minute.
But
I would rather have that than I don't know. I wouldn't do well with that, babe.
Yeah.
I know that because like thinking of you talking to me like that and disassociating that, I would rather deal with you emotionally unregulated.
So why would that be disassociating?
Because you were removing yourself from who you are as my wife to have a conversation with me as if I'm your employee. I would have a hard time with that because that's not how we talk to each other. And if you put on a facade to talk to me in a professional term, and that's not how we conduct our communication.
Okay.
I would take that very personal.
I get that.
Okay.
Well, why would it be an employee? Like why did you automatically go to I would be speaking to you as an employee?
Because that's how because I'm a business owner and I have been my entire life.
I'm just following you.
Not entire, but you know what I mean? Like I've
Your
always
adult
been
life.
in management or running businesses. And by employee, I don't necessarily mean my employee. If you're an HR department having a conversation with somebody that works for your company, you are talking to an employee. You're both employees, but you're doing a job. It's not the same thing as being your authentic self having a conversation.
Gotcha.
I would rather get the ugly you than the sugar-coated false version that's made up. There's no truth to that.
Yeah.
I don't want unregulated you. I want you regulated. I want you to be emotionally capable of working through your shit and talking to me, but not disassociating like that.
Okay.
I hope that makes fucking sense.
It does. And noted, I will never joke with you like that either.
Joking with me like that is different.
Yeah.
I wouldn't get offended by that because it's a joke. It's not like you're talking down to me or
I don't know,
trying to
because
be
if you
superior.
don't take it as a joke, I'm not gonna feel good about it. So I'm just not gonna tread that water. Okay. I'm good on that.
That works. Just step over that landmine just to be safe.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, say something is going on your phone and you're dealing with 3 fires at once.
Yeah. Why risk it? I get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm good. And I get that autopilot response. No, thank you. Okay. The other reason I'm writing to you both is this. I need recommendations on communication technique books, other podcasts, and anything at all that you think will be helpful for me to effectively communicate in a way that I can save my marriage.
It's so crazy that it's like we have a website that has all this information already on it and ready to go.
Yes.
tobebetter.co. Downloads. Check-in list, courting list, book recommended reading list, kids check-in list.
Is it tobebetter.co?
.co. What did I say? tobebetterco.com?
No, you just said tobebetter.co.
tobebetter.co.
And my mind went at gmail.com. I was like, wait a minute, we're
That's
not
the
telling them
email.
to email us.
That'll all change eventually.
Yeah.
We're working on getting that done. I have a call tomorrow to actually have the websites redone. I think what they need to do is start repeating things back.
Yes.
This is what I heard. Not this is what you said, because that's accusatory. This is what I heard. That's not what I said. That's what I heard. Can you rephrase it so that I can hear it differently until I can understand what it is you're trying to convey to me? That's the starting point of all of the issues that you have in your communication. Until you can master that, nothing else is going to move forward.
Yeah.
Because if you're having a conversation and you are articulating yourself in a way that you think I understand, and my understanding is fuck you, we're not communicating.
Right.
You're talking at me. I'm getting defensive.
This is not working.
Why are you doing that?
Yeah. Continue into the email.
Yes.
Oh, wait. I thought of 2 books. Just right off the top of my head. The 4 Agreements and Never Split the Difference.
Both of those are on our reading list.
Correct.
And I'm pretty sure Zach actually put that shit down into like categories.
Oh,
I know he did.
hell yeah.
I know he did. Like communication, relationships, infidelity,
Yeah.
for fun. Like, yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, Zach's the man.
Okay, continuing on.
Yep.
I say save my marriage because there are needs I have that are not being met, and I can guarantee there are needs of his that I am not meeting because we don't talk about anything. If you are aware of needs that are not being met, why does there have to be a conversation about meeting them
Instead of just fixing it.
instead of just meeting the needs?
Well, this
Well-
comes down to assuming that they know these things.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a slippery fucking slope, man. That you should know better statement is one of those things that
Instantly infuriates me.
it is such a big red flag for me when having a conversation. Well, they should know better. Oh, no.
Why?
You need to slow the fuck down. Like you really, really, really lack intelligence right now by talking like that.
What was that song? I know you like to think your shit don't stink. Roses. That's what it is. By Outkast.
Yep.
Yep. Oh man, I'd carry around a little boom box just to have like an 8-track cassette tape in there with that song and like a couple of others that I can cycle through when people start telling me something, and I just play it and then I pause it. So how did that make you feel in response to what you just said to me?
You know, people would be like, where the fuck did you get an eight-track cassette of Outkast? Like the shit was discontinued way before Outkast was a thing.
I can't burn it like a CD, but
No, you
I
can't.
can figure it out.
It's a lot.
I'm gonna sit in front of the radio. My gosh, my speech is really just. Did you watch that TikTok I made earlier today?
I haven't. I posted the TikToks earlier and avoided it because I expected there to be a whole lot of notifications on there, and I was trying to wait until we did the recording.
I mixed an R and a W in that TikTok too, and I was like, I'm not recording this again.
Oh yeah,
And I just continued.
it happens.
But I'm gonna like sit in front of the radio with my little boom box, and every time someone walks in, shh, so I can record it. But the good thing is now I can restart the song. I don't have to wait for the radio to play it again.
Right.
I can just on demand.
Living that 80s life.
Yeah. Continue reading.
Yes.
If we have a conversation, it consists of his work or our kids. I can't tell you the first damn thing about my husband that doesn't involve his job or him as a father, and I want to know him so badly.
This is so much deeper than not communicating.
It is so much more.
They're not talking to each other. Like this really comes down to just, you get to a point where you don't even want to talk about your work life anymore, right? Like, because you've had the conversations, you don't want
It's
to
the same
fucking
thing
have them
every day.
again, right? And what's going to change? So like, if they're not communicating,
Yeah.
which we know they're not communicating, at this point, they're probably thinking, and this is an assumption, they're probably thinking, well, what's the point in having to talk about my needs because nothing ever changes?
Yeah.
This is just our life. We've fallen into these roles. We've both kind of accepted it. Nothing's going to change because we're both too fucking stubborn to change. So what's the point? So now I know they're not even talking to each other. Could you imagine being with somebody for 15 years and saying, I don't know them?
No.
It means that you two really, truly just grew apart and did nothing to try to reconcile that shit.
There wasn't even an attempt to go, oh, you're 3 feet further away. Come back.
Right. Like, I noticed it's been a couple of days and like,
Yeah.
you're not, the normal pep in your step isn't there.
You haven't touched my butt.
You talk about it? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Did I do something? It's not insecure to ask. Sometimes you did do something, right? Like, I would rather appear insecure and vulnerable and be right than assume and fucking have my world fall apart because I was too fucking stubborn to ask a question.
Yep. That's one of the questions that we ask each other, especially if we're in public and we're around people and we can tell something's going on. That's the first thing we ask. Is it me?
Yep.
And there's no fear in that question.
Nope.
There's no anxiety in that question. It's not a, oh my God, they're going to leave me. It's if it's me, dope, then I know how to fix it.
Right.
If it's not me, then we'll figure it out together.
It's a very, very good way to look at that, babe. If it's me, I can fix it. Yep. Yep. That's strong.
Yep. Oh my God, why did that just make me so emotional?
It's growth. There's a lot to that. Because you know what you could say? Well, if it's me, what the fuck did I do now? right? Like
It's always something with
it's
you.
always something. I can never fucking do anything right. Like
Yeah.
that's not the case. You just said, if it's me, I can fix that. That's strong. Like, and that was full chest. There was no hesitation there. When we do that to each other in public, for everybody who's listening, to be clear, it's because if it's something that happened that is a us problem and it needs to be addressed, we can step aside and have the conversation and go back to living our life instead of waiting until we get home thinking everything is okay and then having a fucking fight because one person's been dwelling on some shit and the other person thinks everything is perfectly fine.
Right.
It's important to have those quick things while they're still pebbles before they become boulders. So
Okay. Continuing reading. I want to worship the ground he walks on, but I don't know him. I want to give him my submission so much that it physically pains me not to do it, but I don't know how because I don't know who he is. My next reason is more a question for Peaches.
wait, before we move on.
Pausing.
I want to be submissive. Say that again.
I want to give him my submission so much that it physically pains me to not do it, but I don't know how because I don't know who he is.
At some point in your marriage, were you actually submissive to him? And he had that role? Or after 15 years, you decided that that's just what you want? That's a very good question to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Because if you had it and you lost it, you should have addressed it when it lost, not 15 years later. Like, and if this is something that you want and he doesn't know you want it, how is he supposed to step into the leadership role if he doesn't know that's what you wanted? Because 15 years is a long fucking time. It's half of people's lives if they're in their 30s. Like, how the fuck is he supposed to know these things?
Right.
All right.
Continuing on. My next reason is more of a question for Peaches, but I don't know how to word it without sounding whiny. Okay, so I have been doing the work on myself, regardless of the outcome with my husband and all of that. I wanted to be a better woman. I believe my husband deserves that whether he can be a better husband to me or not. I want to give him the best of myself. My question is this: how do I keep from getting discouraged? How do I keep myself from falling into the same patterns as before when there is no one to recognize my work but me? Does that mean that I'm doing it for someone else, or can I still be doing it for me but want that support? Do any of these questions make sense? I mean, they make sense, but is this tied into you wanting to be submissive towards your husband, or is this just in regards to your growth as a human being? Because I am all about growing with my husband. I will initiate that growth. I will check on my husband and see how he's doing this week. What's the new things that you learned? What are your new interests, new hobbies? Like I am fully engaged when it comes to my husband. But that's because he's fully engaged when it comes to me. You don't know what plants I'm growing, but you're always excited when I show you new growth.
Yep.
So when it comes to the submission aspect of things, I am not going to serve my husband if he does not serve me. I'm not a slave. When it comes to the self-growth as an individual person and as a woman, like I said, I want to grow with my husband and I love that we grow together. I am not going to halt. I'd be willing to stunt my growth a little bit. If you're having like a mental breakdown and we have to work on your psyche for 3 months and that's all that we focus on, I'm not growing in that. I'm focused on my husband. I mean, I could be growing. I could be learning new things.
You would be technically.
Right. But like, for example, the last thing on my mind would be crocheting.
Right.
So that aspect of me is not growing, but I'm helping my husband. So it is a form of growth, you could say. But if I have a new venture that I want to do and my husband goes, really? You think that you have the wherewithal to do that? Yes, I do. And I'm going to do it with you or I'm going to do it without your support. And that's where I would draw my line. I am not going to stop my growth because somebody else wants to see me not achieve something. And it would suck. It would suck to grow and know that my husband's bitter about it. And of course, issues would arise down the road because of that. And some of my growth is for my husband. And I don't feel ashamed in saying that. It's not codependency. It's not, you're my reason that I'm here. It's, I care about my husband and I want my husband to have the best version of me every day. So when I am reading, oh my gosh, I'm totally blanking. Empowerment wife is the only two words coming to my mind.
The empowered wife?
The empowered wife.
The surrendered wife?
Yes. I didn't read those books for no reason.
Right.
I read those books to gain the knowledge to make myself be the best wife I can be for my husband. And I want to clarify and put emphasis on the my husband aspect. Because every man, every husband is not a cookie cutter and wants his wife to be able to make a cake and do homemade pretzels and plan Sunday evenings for everybody to come over and have a dinner. There are men who seek their wife to be able to support them in businesses, to be able to. There are some men who expect their woman to have their own interest and hobbies and be their own individual person because they're so busy with the things going on in their own life. So in regards to growing, definitely grow for yourself, but also incorporate your aspirations into that. And part of my aspirations is being a good wife for you. That's my answer.
Okay.
What'd you think of that? Did all that make sense?
It was a lot. A lot of it was very good. Oh, that was not to me, Chris. That was to a Chris in the chat. Never mind. I would like to.
What?
I'm trying to remain calm with what I'm about to say.
Okay.
You and I have sat here today for 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And from my perspective, have had amazing conversations. I feel like this has been a really good back and forth.
Right.
And we are having good conversations. We're both in fairly good moods. I'm in a great fucking mood. I know that you had a slightly rough morning, but like we laid out a whole bunch of gratitude today and like loved on each other. And I got you mashed potatoes and
oh, they were so good too.
We've been doing a thing, right?
Yeah.
And from my perspective, my cognitive bias, this has been amazing.
Right.
And I look over at the chat a minute ago and somebody's like, Peach, are you all right? And every time I see that shit, I want to fucking scream and yell and tell people to fuck off. Because it's one of those things that people know you to a degree. Like if you were not okay, we wouldn't be sitting here. If you were having a really bad mental day and you were off and didn't want to fucking work, I would cancel the live stream. We're not going to fucking do it because your mental health matters more than this fucking podcast does. And I see that shit and it instantly fucking enrages me. And there's nothing I can do about it because I understand that people genuinely want to help and they want to see you happy and they want to see you thrive and good.
Yeah.
But at what point during this 2-hour fucking episode has anything indicated that you're not okay? Am I fucking oblivious? Am I missing something? Like, why would that be asked? And it happens all the fucking time.
I don't know. I am going to be honest. I don't like it either because I am sitting here having a good time and I look over and I see that and then I start questioning my own reality. I understand that I have resting bitch face. I am not going to sit here and be smiles all the time. There are times where I'm intently paying attention. I'm trying to process what my husband's saying. Are you okay has become one of those phrases. I don't want you to fucking ask me anymore. If I'm not okay, you'll know it. And that sounds aggressive with the way that I just said it. I'm exasperated when it comes to that. I feel like I'm a pretty open book when it comes to what I'm experiencing or what I'm going through because I want to help other people.
Our lives are an open book at this point.
Like,
we've spent the last 2 years living on the internet. Like when we've had problems, we've worked through the shit
Yeah.
on the fucking internet. So like I don't know, babe. I don't know. I agree. I agree with everything you just said. We are very open about things. If you were not okay, everyone would fucking know. It wouldn't be like a guessing game.
It wouldn't be a secret. I wouldn't be sitting here trying to power through it. When we're having a hard time, when we sit down, that's the first thing we say.
Right. So
Today's been a hard mental day, guys. I'm not going to be on my game.
Right.
I don't know. And I understand that there is a care behind it and people genuinely want to see us be happy. It's just...
It makes you question your reality. It did it to me.
I have, like, with my borderline, I know you experience this as well. When it comes to experiencing something and then realizing that didn't fucking happen. This is going to make me sound like an absolute lunatic. There are times where, like, I'm driving my car and I'm going 50 miles an hour and it dawns on me, if I crash, I could die. Like, I have a really hard time. It's not an all the time thing. There are just moments where you could say that I'm aloof, but it's like I have a respawn point. And I don't think that any of this is real. And I'm like the only person who has a consciousness and everybody else is just NPCs. So I question my own reality a lot of the time. And having questions like that out of the blue, out of left field, because that's how that feels. Well, I'm like, fuck, am I happy right now? Am I actually experiencing what I'm experiencing? Or are other people, like you said, am I just oblivious? It's a lot.
Yep. Before we move on, is there anything else in the email or are we done with the email?
No, we're on the last paragraph.
Okay, let's just get through that because we have to do a Patreon live after this. We got like 10 minutes.
I'm sorry this email jumps around a lot, but I have been writing the same email over and over. I have drafted it probably 7 times and given myself time to think about it before I send it. And I always change it because I either blame my husband for everything wrong in our lives, which I don't want to do. I'm a big problem in this marriage, hence the working on myself. This being a list of everything he does right, and me still having problems and blaming my upbringing, which again doesn't hold me accountable for my part, to just something that doesn't make sense at all, and I don't even know if this does or not. I need help. I am still ready to learn about who my husband is as a man, just as much as I am ready to learn who I am as his woman. So in writing this, I did not see any accountability. The only accountability I saw is that I'm a talker.
By her saying that she's written it and rewritten it 7 times to make sure that she's not blaming him for everything. There is an accountability there. However, there's also the excuse of she called her own excuse. And I was going to address the excuse aspect of it, is saying that, you know, she had, she's not her childhood problems, whatever, past problems. A lot of us will use those excuses to not have to make changes. Well, this is just the way my life has been. Mm-hmm. There's that acceptance, which is what that is. That's an acceptance.
It is.
Makes it so that we don't have to work as hard to change because we've accepted that that's just the way our life is.
Right.
If you look at this as this is unacceptable and you don't accept the way that your life is, you're going to work a whole lot harder to change it because you believe that this is unacceptable behavior.
Right.
That's a lot. That's also a very big statement. And when you really think about it, every time you make an excuse, you are giving yourself permission to fail.
Yes.
That's what it is. An excuse is a permission to fail. You've given yourself the green light to just go ahead and fucking let it go. Mm-hmm. Not about that.
Yeah.
Nope.
There were a couple of questions asked, and I feel like I answered the questions to the best of my ability. In regards to learning about your husband, the fact that you guys have been together for 15 years and you don't know how to be married to one another is astounding to me. And like my husband said, it's so much deeper than communication issues in this. And there were really no examples given of how the emailer is the problem. It's been stated a couple of times that I am the problem, but it's mainly focused on not knowing your husband.
Okay, so if this was you with 15 years of marriage and you felt like this one day when you woke up, what would you do to change it? What would be the first thing that you did?
Put myself against the wall, pull you against me, and kiss you.
I was not expecting that answer, but
That's what I would do.
That would definitely wake me up. Right? There would be where the fuck did that come from? That hasn't happened in forever, obviously, if we don't know each other.
Right.
So that's a fucking good answer. And not at all what I expected. You want to know what I expected?
What did you expect?
I expected you to tell me I need a date night. I truly believe that's where you were going.
Why?
Because how else are you going to get to know your person that you're with, right? Like, isn't that the whole fucking foundation for every relationship that's ever existed? You started off on a date.
Yeah, but asking for a date night, that can be put off or given an excuse. If I just pull you into an action, unless you physically push me away.
That's true. I feel like, I don't know, I guess, so my train of thought on that is that in 15 years, if we're not having date nights and we're not getting along and we're not communicating, and you were to hit me with, I need a date night, it would give me the opportunity to fill that request. But I honestly think that I would want to know why you feel the need to have a date night all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I think that might open, the kiss thing would do it. That kiss thing would create a fucking hell of a conversation, because it would start with, where did that come from with us?
I miss you.
Right.
That would be my next thing. I miss us.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to start crying because I don't want to lose that.
Babe, I don't think that that's something that we ever have to worry about, because we actively pursue each other still. I don't believe that anybody's going to get out of their predicament in that situation without reestablishing new groundwork.
Yeah.
To go from being married to I don't know this person means you have a whole lot of fucking work to do on your foundation.
Yeah.
And if you have that clean slate because you don't know each other and you have this belief that the other person is something they're not, you have the ability to create an entire new relationship for the next 15 to 30 years. Right? Like, you can, hey, I realize that, like, we're 35 years old and we've been together for 15 years. Like, we're not the same people we were when we met. Maybe we need to start going on dates again and having conversations about the way we view the world. Mm-hmm. Maybe what we think we know about each other is fucking wrong. Yeah. So let's go and have conversations about our favorite movies, because what you loved at 20, you don't love at 35.
Right. Yes.
So
oh my gosh.
Let's reestablish open lines of communication and learn to love each other for who we are right now. Like, I want to try this shit. That would be that kiss followed by those conversations would definitely wake somebody up from a daze. I still thought you were going to go to date night.
Yeah.
I need a date, but it would have given the same outcome. I think the kiss would have been more impactful.
That's the goal.
If I was walking out of the bathroom and you grabbed me and yanked me to the fucking closet wall and laid one on me, I would
do that thing with my hand behind your head.
Especially after all that time of being in the roommate phase, I'd be like, where the fuck did that come from? Like, that would absolutely create a what the fuck is that moment.
Yeah. And the goal would also be to reignite the desire and the interest in me.
There would be a whole lot of shock there. That's crazy to think about. It's so wild. We are an hour and 58 minutes into this. We actually haven't done a full 2-hour live stream in quite a while.
I feel like we have.
No, I meant we normally end it a little bit to go live on Patreon again. We ran it right to the full 2-hour mark.
There's a lot of discussion in this one.
Yeah.
A lot in our brains.
Yep. We have a lot of people who are subscribed on YouTube that are not part of the Patreon, and the only way to get the Patreon content is to make sure that you check the wall on YouTube, because when I do share them to both places, it only goes to the community posts, which I know a lot of people don't look at. So if you guys are wondering why you're not getting the content, it's because you're not paying attention to that. We did just get a super chat that said, if I send in a love story and I'm not a patron, is there still a chance it would be read on the show? Yes. Love stories are going to get read every single time
Except for today.
except for today because we literally have to go live in 1 minute on the other account, or on the Patreon account. Thank you to Hijinks for giving us the Prime sub. That shit means a
thank
lot.
you.
For those of you who have Amazon Prime, please go to Twitch, find To Be Better Podcast every 30 days and just subscribe and give us that free Prime account because it helps support the channel and it doesn't cost you anything other than like 30 seconds of your fucking time.
Yeah.
So, yep. Do you have anything else that you would like to add before we wrap this up, Hotness?
No, I'm good to go.
All right. For those of you who are going to be part of the Patreon, give us 5 or 10 minutes because I have to take a piss and refill my drink and stretch. So we'll see you guys in a little bit. Thank you for tuning in, guys. And I hope you guys find value in what we're doing because
That's the goal.
we sure in the fuck do.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye, guys.
Mm-hmm.